Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to look at another brewery who are quite local to me here in Osaka in Japan. So we're going to go to Osaka Kuni no Cho beer, who are from Takatsuki, kind of in the middle of Osaka and Kyoto actually. And we've got a special beer to look at from these guys. This one is the Osaka Dojima beer, which is a 5% kind of Kölsch amber beer apparently. It wasn't actually listed on their website, but it was listed on Rate Beer as being a sort of Kölsch amber beer, this one. So it should be quite interesting. The reviews that it had were kind of middle ground, so it should be interesting to try it and see how we get on with this one. These guys, of course, are another one of the kind of G beer breweries that have popped up over the last kind of 20 years in Japan, so we'll see how we get on with this one. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Kuni no Cho beer. I'm sure I will do a couple more of these. There's all the usual social media, make sure you check that out. If you want to see more Japanese beer reviews, go into the channel homepage and search for Japan, they'll all come up. If you want to see some other beer reviews other than that, you can search for other things, of course. Do consider subscribing to the channel, and make sure you go and check out Casey and Eric's channel, Sotogami Akihabara. They've been reviewing Japanese beers for a long time compared to me, so make sure you check their channel out. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Osaka Kuni no Cho beer. So Osaka Kuni no Cho is part of the Kotobuki Shuzo company, which is based in Takatsuki in Osaka Prefecture. As I mentioned to you, it's about halfway between Osaka and Kyoto. Of course, most of that area between the two cities is kind of urban anyway. But the company was founded in 1822, which is the late Edo period in Japan, and the current president is Kenji Hashimoto, who's actually the 7th generation of his family to run the company. And apparently the Hashimoto family have a long history of brewing sake and producing rice and things like this. Apparently it goes back over 500 years. But the brewery also continued to produce sake even during the wartime, which actually wasn't so common. Many of the buildings, of course, in Japan were wooden that time, and a lot of, the incendiary bombing and things that went on basically burnt Japan to the ground in a lot of cases. But these guys were able to continue producing sake throughout the war, which is kind of impressive actually. But they began brewing beer in 1995 when the laws were changed. As I've mentioned to you before, there used to be a limit on how much beer you could actually brew before you were allowed to brew. I think it was 2 million hectolitres, something like this, or 2 million litres, I'm not sure. And since 2005 they've also been producing shochu as well, so they've got some nice sakes there. If you check out the website, you'll see the sakes, the shochus, and you'll also see the beers that they have as well. So just to list a few of the other beers you get from these guys, there's the Kura Kölsch, the Kura Amber, and the Dry Stout. All of those have a kind of frog label on them actually. There's a kind of frog thing on the label. I'll show you one of those later, because I do have another one that I will review for you soon. And they've also got another couple of beers that are called Takashi Brewing Ale, and they've got the gold one and the brown one in that line. So yeah, it should be quite an interesting one to try this. This is one of the little G beer breweries that we have here in Osaka. So yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. You can see quite nicely presented there. You can see at the end it says Biru. I'm not sure about the kanji at the start of that. Maybe that is what it says, Dojima, so it's maybe just Dojima Biru. But I don't think it's, that's not Osaka in the kanji. I know Osaka, but there you can see all the text and stuff like that. And you can see this is actually quite a common bottle cap in Japan, just a few hop flowers and things like that, and malt grains. So yeah, should be quite nice. As I mentioned, 5% Kölsch beer. Let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. So yeah, a nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out. You can smell a sort of grassy and floral thing coming off of this one. A little bit of biscuity malt actually too. But yeah, a little bit of sediment coming out of this one. You can see it just in the colour of the liquid. But yeah, kind of what you'd expect. If it's a Kölsch beer, you're going to get this nice kind of bright golden colour to it. But as you can see, it's poured a nice bright sort of golden amber colour. There's 3/4 finger of a frothy white head there, some big carbonation bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. It looks very, very nice. So let's have a look at the aroma here, and then we'll have a go at it. That's kind of, it's a kind of unusual aroma actually. It smells a little bit kind of astringent sort of thing. It smells a little bit soapy actually. So you've got a little bit of a kind of odd soapy character coming out of this one. it's almost kind of, you can smell, this is going to be quite a citrusy flavour beer, I can tell you that, but it's not, it's that kind of astringent thing, it's not like a proper orangey or lemon citrus. But you can smell a little bit of bready character in here, there's some sweeter caramel notes on top of that. Maybe some biscuity, grainy characters, maybe it's the grain that's giving it this aroma actually. But yeah, some kind of grainy characters, and there's a little bit of grassy floral hop coming out. And a bit of earthy character too, but overall it's really that kind of astringent, almost citrusy character that's coming out of this one. Maybe a bit of farmhouse yeast in there as well actually, it does smell quite yeasty. But it's quite an unusual aroma. If it's meant to be a Kölsch or an amber ale, it certainly doesn't smell like that. But just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one, or try and pick out the different things in this beer before you try it. But it's quite an unusual aroma, I think. I've never smelt a beer quite like that one, apart from a really macro brewed beer. So let's get stuck into this one and see how we get on. So this is the Osaka Dojima beer from Osaka Kuni no Cho in Takatsuki in Japan. Kanpai. Now, on first taste, you know, the first thing that comes into my head about this beer, it's actually not too far away from a sort of English bitter, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere, it's almost like an English bitter, English golden ale kind of thing you've got going on here with this one. The middle of your palate, you've got a sort of bready character to it, it just goes right across the middle of the palate. On top of that, you've got these grainy, kind of biscuity characters, and it's just got that kind of dryness there, that dryness and almost kind of slightly ashy, earthy character from the malts as well. It definitely reminds me of some kind of English golden ale or English kind of bitter ESB sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, it has, in terms of a Kölsch beer, this isn't what I would call a Kölsch beer in my experience when I lived in Germany. This isn't a Kölsch beer, no way. No, if anything, if this is resembling to any kind of Western beer style, this one is it's an English bitter, kind of English golden ale thing. The hoppy character on this one is kind of what gives it away as well. You've got a good little bit of earthiness in the back corner of the palate. As you come further forward, it's more floral, and it's actually quite dry around the front curve of the tongue. It's earthy and floral. There's not really that kind of lighter grassiness that you get from some of these beers, but it really is, for me, I wonder if there's English hops used in this beer, because it has that distinct, it's like really earthy character. When it comes to German noble hops are a lot more subtle in their earthy character. They're just that, the earthy character isn't quite as prominent in German hops as it is in English hops, and for me this one really tastes like it's got English hops in it. Yeah, I would definitely stick with that. I mean, this beer overall, it's quite a, you know, it's a session beer. It's not too far away from things like Asahi or Sapporo or Orion or things like that. You know, it's that kind of standard of beer, this one. It's not in the same kind of league as the likes of Baird beer or Dyson G beer or Fuji Sakura and things like that. This one isn't quite in the same league as that. Yeah, this is one of some of the G beers here in Japan, you know, they're kind of okay. They're better than the macro beers, but they're not quite as good as the kind of proper craft beers. This one kind of fits into that category. It is drinkable. You would enjoy it with a meal or something like that, but it's not kind of in the right sort of league to be a proper beer that you drink just to enjoy the taste and see what the taste is like. Actually, it's not quite that good. But this one I would recommend in terms of the flavour. I'd recommend it for people who like sort of English bitters, English golden ale sort of thing. In the middle of the palate, it really is quite bready and buttery. It's almost like kind of toast a little bit. If you get some nice warm toast and just melt the butter over it, it does have that sort of flavour to it, and then the earthy English hops and things in there too. But yeah, I mean, overall it's alright. It's a kind of quite standard session ale, I would say, and it's something kind of typical that you get from a lot of these G beer breweries here in Japan. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say it's quite light bodied. Carbonation is quite crispy actually on this one. It would be a good hot day beer. If you just want something to cool down, then it would suit you in that regard. There's a little bit of sweetness from the malt, like I was saying, but there is a bit of dryness from it as well, as that kind of typical grainy, biscuity character there. There's a bit of a doughy character to it as well, and you have the earthy hops in the back corner of the palate and the floral kind of thing. So it is kind of dry, and it is quite a dry beer, this one actually, but it does refresh you at the same time. But overall, I would say if you like your English golden ales and you like your English bitters, you probably will enjoy this one, because it's kind of similar to those. They're saying that it's a Kölsch beer, and at 5% is quite a sessionable one too, but as a Kölsch beer, it doesn't fit into that category for me. It's more fitting to one of these more English style beers because of the hoppy character and the malt base as well. It really does resemble that. In terms of the flavour, it's not quite up there with the likes of Baird, St. Gallen, Izakadoya and breweries like that. This one is one of the kind of typical G brewery beers that you get here in Japan. So it's alright if you want to give it a try, have a go and see what you think for yourself, but it's not the same quality as some of the other things that you can get here in Japan. But give it a go and see what you think, and I will return to this brewery in the next little while and see how we get on with one of their other beers too. So yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you go and check out Casey and Eric's channel as well. Let me know your own thoughts on this particular beer if you have tried it yourself, and let me know your favourite ones from this brewery as well. And I definitely will return to them for some other beers in the fairly near future. So I'll catch you soon with some more beer reviews from Kuni no Cho beer here in Osaka, Japan. Slange just now, and I will catch you soon. Kanpai.